All right, gentlemen. Sorry I can't be there today, but we're going to push through and work on some inequalities. First part should be review. Let's just review real quick how to graph an inequality. So if we're given x is less than 6, we know on the number line we're going to start at 6, and then we're going to use a open circle, right? This is not or equal to. The number 6 is not included in this. So we would do an open circle and then shade into the direction. The arrow goes in the direction of where numbers are less than 6. On the contrary, when we have an or equal to, like in number 2, we have, there's our 0, here's our -9. We have x is greater than or equal to. And just like we were doing with our domain and range, it's included with a closed circle and shades in the direction of the numbers that are all greater than or equal to -9. So that's just a real quick crash course in graphing inequalities. We'll skip 3 and 4 for another day. But I want to talk about solving inequalities, because you can have an inequality problem that has variables and multiple parts to it, and you just want to figure out what's the solution for x. So to do that, what we're going to do is treat an inequality just like an equation. If you add something to both sides, the inequality doesn't change. So, when we're looking at number 5, we're looking at -9 is less than 2. If we add 3 to both sides, we're not changing, we're not putting our fingers on the scale, we're keeping it balanced, right? It would still be -6 is less than 5, because all we did was add 3 to both sides. And you can do this with almost every operation. There is one exception. We're going to get to that at the end. When you can subtract 7 from both sides. So -9 minus 7, -16. 2 minus 7, -5. That's still true. -16 is less than -5. And it goes down like that. We can add to both sides. We can add negatives to both sides. We can multiply by both sides. The big problem comes when we multiply or divide by a negative, okay? So when we have multiplying by a positive, -9, so let's look at this multiplied by 10. -9 times 10, -90, right? 2 times 10, 20. That's still true, right? 20 is greater than -90. Divide both sides. -9 over 5 is less than 2 over 5. Still true. But if you multiply both sides by -6, now we're in trouble, because a negative times a negative becomes a positive. So we have 45 is less than -12. And we know that's just not true, right? That is false. Same goes for dividing. -9 over 3. -9 divided by -3. That is a positive 3, right? And 2 divided by -3. Well, that's 2 over -3. And we know that's also false. So when we multiply or divide by a negative number, we flip the inequality. Okay? And we are going to now see what that looks like real quick. I'm going to do 2 examples for us. Okie dokie. And you do these exactly like you would any equation, right? We're going to add to both sides. We're going to subtract from both sides. And we're just trying to get all of the x's on one side of our equation so that we have a balanced equation, right? So let's see what that looks like. If we're doing number 1, for example, right? I'm going to start by subtracting 6 from both sides. That's going to give me my -8x is less than, we have 3x minus 3. And then, to get all the x's to one side, we can divide by, or subtract negative 3 from both sides, right? So that, sorry, that should be negative 3x, right? So that's going to give us negative 11x. Those are going to cancel. And we have negative 11x is less than negative 3. Now our last step is to divide, right? We need to divide by negative 11 to get x by itself. And when we do that, we flip the inequality sign. So we actually switch it around like that. See how I just made it change directions? And then we divide what's negative 3 divided by negative 11. Well, that's just 3 over 11, right? And then we can graph that down here and have no problem. Here's 0. We'll call that 3 over 11. It's an open circle, and x is greater than. And so that's simple, and it works exactly like an equation. You can distribute, you can combine like terms. So, for example, number 3 is going to cause a couple different steps, right? We have to, and we've got to start with a distribution here. We're going to be combining like terms. So let's get started with that. So I'm going to start by distributing that 5 because everything is way too hard to divide that out. So we're going to end up negative 6x plus 35x minus 20 because we're just distributing the 5 to that 7, negative 4. And on the other side, we're going to combine those as like terms. So that's negative 7x plus 9. Cool. And then we just keep going. Combine like terms, isolate the x. Negative 6x plus 35x. That's 29x minus 20. Nothing else changes on that step because we're just combining like terms. And now I'm going to move the x over. So we're going to add 7x here and add 7x here. That gets us 36x minus 20 is greater than 9. And then we're going to add, quiet, Madeline. Then we're going to add 20 to both sides, right? To cancel out that 20, so we get 36x is greater than 29. And then finally, to isolate the x completely, 36 divided by, and we can get those to cancel. X is greater than 29 over 36. And you can leave it just like that. It can't simplify. You don't need to give me a decimal. Just leave it as 29 over 36. We could graph that off pretty easily. And if you notice, we didn't have to switch any of the inequality signs on this one because we didn't divide by a negative number like we did in number 1. So that didn't require us to switch it. So keep that in mind when you guys are going through these problems and work on the delta math. If you have any problems and you struggle, feel free to put some headphones on and rewatch this, or watch the videos, read the explanations that are on delta math, and those are great tools. I will see you next class. Good luck.